Kush News, the newscast of the African diaspora. I'm your anchor, Ochanda, daily bringing you the top stories from Africa and the Caribbean. Let's look at today's news on Friday, April 21st, 2023. Let's go to Sudan, where Sudan's paramilitary rapid support forces has agreed to a 72-hour truce. The 72-hour truce is the third truce to have happened this week. Let's hope it hasn't failed. It is designed to at least bring a halt to the days of fighting in the African country that has killed a lot. The Rapid Support Forces said in a statement that the truce aligns with the blessing holiday of Eid al-Fitr, a holiday commemorating the end of Ramadan. The Muslim holiday of Eid has had its significance in the country, but this week, not so much. There have been no indication, however, from the Sudan Armed Forces about its intentions to observe the truce. There have been groups that have been working on the phones to achieve a de-escalation since the violence had spread last Saturday between the former allies, now rivals. South Sudan, Kenya, Djibouti have been the neighboring countries that have called for a ceasefire completely. At least 20 hospitals have been closed since, and at least 9 in the capital of Khartoum have closed, with the potential for a dozen more to close soon, according to reports. Officials say that this is a tragic for a country where 1/3 of the population, that is about 16 million people, need humanitarian assistance. The fighting between the army, the National Army of Sudan, and the Rapid Support Force broke out after months of tensions over the political future and plans to integrate the Rapid Support Forces into the National Army. The presidents, again, of Kenya, South Sudan, and Djibouti say that they plan to travel to Sudan in the coming days to hold discussions with both leaders. The clashes are part of a power struggle between Burhan, who heads the South Sudan's National Army, and Hemeti, who heads the Rapid Support Forces. The two generals joined forces back in October 2021 to overthrow Omar al-Bashir and formed after the 2019 overthrow and coup. The restructuring of the military was part of an effort to restore the country to civilian rule, but that has since halted. Those in Sudan, let us know on how you guys are dealing with this, and happy Eid. Let's go to Ethiopia, where we also talk about relevance to Sudan. Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Abiy Ahmed, warned parties who are working to incite conflict and jeopardize ties between Ethiopia and Sudan. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's statements came against a report by the Sudanese media, which claimed that Ethiopian forces have carried out an invasion and an attack on the disputed Al-Fashaqqa on Wednesday, taking advantage of the ongoing instability in Sudan. In a Twitter post, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed said that parties are spreading false allegations to gain political advantage of the critical time when peoples of Ethiopia and Sudan may face many challenges. The Prime Minister further indicated that since Ethiopia values brotherhood and good neighborliness between the two countries, it has no intentions of exploiting the situation. He stated, "We firmly believe in resolving the border issues through dialogue and discussions." According to the report by the Al-Sudani, the Sudanese armed forces stationed on the eastern border of Sudan and Ethiopia observed an alert movement and unusual activity among the Ethiopian forces in their camps. Al-Sudani's report claimed that the goal of the Ethiopia military was to restore the disputed farmland that Al-Fashaqqa by taking advantage of the preoccupation by the armed forces in battles. However, Abiy Ahmed said that Ethiopia has confidence that the Sudanese people should not be swayed by such allegations. "We wish for peace and stability to return to Sudan," he stated. The two countries have since then agreed to resolve issues between the two countries surrounding the long-standing dispute over the territory known as Al-Fashaqqa. Those in Ethiopia, let us know on how you feel, and let us know on if you are in fact close to that border between Sudan and Ethiopia. Well, let's take a look at Africa as a whole. African countries are lining up to approve a new vaccine available for them to buy this year. This week, Nigeria's Pharmaceutical Regulatory Authority has joined Ghana in supporting the new R21 vaccine, making them the first countries globally to do so. The vaccine was developed by international university scientists and manufactured in an institute in India. African countries do not have excessive resources for drug regulation that they previously relied on. At present, there is a lack of public access to comprehensive information regarding the malaria vaccine's outcome. Additionally, it remains uncertain how low-income countries will afford the cost of the vaccination itself. The World Health Organization stated in a high-level meeting this week that regulatory authorities from at least 10 African countries are currently examining trial data to evaluate the vaccine. It is anticipated that additional countries will grant approval for the vaccine in the next coming weeks. The countries that could be affected were not specifically identified. However, it is worth noting that Tanzania and Kenya have stringent regulatory bodies with rates of illnesses, so it might be a little difficult for that vaccine to get that. Those in Africa as a whole, let us know your thoughts on the new malaria vaccine and if you plan on taking that. Let's go to the Caribbean and end it there, specifically in St. Kitts and Nevis. The government has approved the full activation of the Cannabis Act on 4/20, the unofficial holiday celebrating marijuana. By the Cannabis Act day order published by the Gazette on Thursday, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis signaled its intention to clarify a responsible cannabis use and cannabis derivatives regulatory regime. The Cannabis Act, passed back in 2020, seeks to establish the Medical Cannabis Authority to provide lawful access to medicinal cannabis as an alternative treatment for persons who are suffering and qualifying medical conditions. However, until Thursday, only parts 1 and 2 of the act set out preliminary matters related to the establishment. An official Minister for Agriculture, Samal Duggan, stated that this is a significant step in the government's plan to develop a responsible, professional, and sustainable medical cannabis industry. Our goal is to ensure that the laws with respect to cannabis use are clear and for all to understand, and can now allow budding entrepreneurs to thrive in this new industry. We will prioritize Rastafari groups and traditional growers to seek and support the development of small businesses to take advantage of this fast-growing industry. Back in July of 2022, the cannabis regulations were published. However, there was no power for the minister at that time, given that Part 8 of the Cannabis Act was not in force. Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. Terence Drew, stated that the diversification of our economy involves exploring avenues like the medicinal cannabis industry, which provides sustainable income for our people. However, the government is also serious about tackling substance abuse and its impact on the society. We are a responsible government, and we will always act in the best interests of our people's economic growth and physical health. Those in St. Kitts and Nevis. Let us know your thoughts on medicinal being welcomed and maybe in the future recreational as well. And let Kush News know on if we can come and explore a story for field research purposes. We end today's newscast with the African proverb of the day. And it comes to us from Ethiopia, the Lion of Judah, Rastafari. And it reads, even in the monastery, there is occasion for song and merriment. Once again, even in the monastery, there is occasion for song and merriment. Ethiopian proverb. In the streets it's getting hot, but the youth them a get so cold. Searching for food for the pot. They do anything to fill that gap. Let me know your interpretations of today's African proverb of the day, as well as your views, questions, comments, and concerns on today's top stories. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for today and any other time that we upload an episode. For Kush News on Kush Convos TV, I'm Ochanda. We'll see you soon.